Welcome to the NXT Podcast, your home for weekly NXT reviews and insight.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
Find all of your NXT news, recaps, and analysis right here. So with that being said, we only have one question for you.
Are you ready?
We thought so. Let's get the show started right now.
All right, this is Memphis Mark coming to you from Mullet Manor, and we're going to do the review for 12/19 for NXT. And this week, man, they really started off with the ladies. They have Tiffany Stratton and Valen Henry in the first match, and they've been having some ongoing words. So this has been a build-up, and the match itself, pretty good. Kind of surprising, though, on the end. They let Valen get this victory. And the match, as I said, was pretty good. And Valen pulls off the victory, and then the beatdown begins. Tiffany jumps her when she's getting her hand raised, and proceeds to whoop her outside the ring. And I guess you would say she whooped that trick, because she pulled her by her hair into the back. Takes I'm sure a very clean or new mop and puts it down and is calling her a loser and trash, and then proceeds to pick up a garbage can and dump it on her. So before the refs get there, of course, and so we know we've got an upcoming feud there. And then you got Mello and Trick coming in. It seems that Carmelo is they're slowly building that angle with these guys, where Carmelo tries to wiggle his way into Trick's upcoming match with Dragunov. And the way they did it, I mean, yeah, I can understand the writing in it, and these guys are carrying out what's written for them. So, but I do like the kind of way they're slowly building that. I can see Trick maybe winning the title, and then, of course, who's going to be his first challenger? We'll see. But, yeah, Trick kind of stands up for himself here and says, hey, he won that Iron Survivor challenge, and he really wants a chance to take the belt himself and not in a three-way, and especially the way Carmelo explains it. So, yeah, so far so good on this, I gotta say. Let's see. Yes, they go into Dragunov gets his mic time. So the champ comes out, and he references Trick and Carmelo's relationship as a bromance, and feels like he's a third wheel. Pretty good little start to his time with the stick, and then out of nowhere, Rich Holland comes in, the battling brutes, and Rich comes in and does the most polite step in or cut in that you probably ever gonna hear. He comes in and he gives Dragunov his flowers. And tells him how he needs to restart, and he's going to restart with a shot at that belt. And he's even saying pretty much that he's willing to go to the back of the line, but he's coming for that belt. And of course, it doesn't take much to fire up old Dragunov. And he gets going and says, well, we don't have to wait. We can actually have that match tonight. So you go from Trick and Mello doing their, what he said, like a bromance. I believe Trick even asked him to train him for this fight. So, but they go from that to a face-off with Rich Holland and Dragunov. So interesting writing. I guess it was just Rich's time to come and do a little match time, a little air time on NXT, since Butch has already been on, so it's Rich's turn. So they're going to have a match a little later tonight. So who would have thunk it? All right, we then have a quick little spot with Lexis King, and then Dragunov is walking through the back, and Trick, kind of rolls up on him and kind of wants to know, because they have a match for New Year's Eve, or New Year's Evil, and he wants to know, pretty much why he's given a title shot to Rich, and Dragunov explains to him in no uncertain terms that he is the champ, and that Trick is the challenger, and the champ dictates what goes on with the belt. So, and then of course Trick gets in a little line letting him know that he's the champ until New Year's Evil. So yeah, good little spot though. And then they're going to go into a match with, what is it, Dion? Let me see exactly. It's Dion Lennox and Lexis King, and they're going to have, I guess, their opening match. Yeah, it's the breakout tournament. So Lennox and Lexis King have a good little match. It looks at first like it's going to be just a mow over by Lexis King. But this Dion is pretty unique. He comes to the ring with like the Clark Kent, or the Superman glasses, and he's all calm. And then of course when he takes the glasses off, he becomes whatever it may be. So Lexus is kind of mowing him down and just taking it to him, and this kid, Dion, is a Division I football player. I think he had a little time with the LA Rams. He's only been, I think they said he signed in February, so about 10 months in. He gets his little push, and he gets to come back, has some good moves. Of course, Lexus is really coming into himself. He really... some of his moves, unlike his finishing move, is great, just he has that kind of. Of course, Booker T and the guys are calling him a drama queen, but he kind of portrays that and and does a good job at it, kind of getting under your skin, So some of his moves, like a choke where he was vertical with the ropes, so he can get a little bit better angle and on the choke. I mean, I just like the little move. So we'll see what the future holds for him, because he wins his first round match in this breakout tournament. We'll see where Lexis King's future, Mr. Pillman's future, goes from here. Okay, let me see. Let's check these notes. Yeah, they do a interesting little promo with Eddie Thorpe. Pretty much, giving him a chance to explain how the whole saga with Dijak and himself. Pretty good little spot. But it's leading up to a ladies tag team match. Yeah, you've got JC Jane and Thea Hale going against Kiana James and Izzy Dane. And I don't know. I'm sure they're getting Thea to act like the goofy little sister that's getting to come into the clubs with the big sister for the first time. But just her entrance, they go to a commercial break. They bring JC and Thea out, and JC's kind of dancing to the music, and Thea looks like the awkward person in the family with no rhythm. But yeah, as far as the match goes, it's a little surprising. I guess they're giving Kiana her well-deserved push, because they're going to pull out a win in here, but they pretty much lay the smacketh downeth on the ladies for a while there, and the match is pretty good. You know, Thea's going to get her a couple shots, but they mainly let JC take the grunt of everything. And Izzy Dame, I wasn't, I didn't know a lot about her, and they're bringing her in slow, but not too bad. Not too bad in the ring. Thea, of course, she gets to come in and do her Ultimate Warrior kind of deal, and comes in and tears it up until I think it's Kiana that does like a double throat punch or strike or whatever. Surprises her. Then Izzy ends up catching her. They tag, and Izzy ends up catching her with a big kick when she's a little distracted. And the Kiana James and Izzy Dame win the match and look pretty good doing it. So, they go from there. They go into the locker room, and they've got Roxanne and the beauty pageant, of course. So that's where they're going with that angle, because they have to have some words, of course. And and the size difference. Roxanne is so much smaller than everybody, but she's playing it. She slaps the big beauty queen, and she goes berserk. And so we've got something coming from there. And then they go to a quick little spot with Dragon Lee setting up for a match, because he is the North American champion. Yeah, but before they can do anything with Dragon Lee, they do a little promo, or a little skit, I guess you could say, with Duke Hudson and Andre Chase. And they're in a dice game with Scripps or Reggie or whatever, and his two big guys, Bronco and another big man. And so they're throwing out money. And it's kind of funny, because it's not funny money, it's just kind of funny. Reggie kind of looks, in this particular spot, looks okay. And they're throwing out, making it rain. But then Andre makes a bet that he doesn't really have the authority to do, saying that if they'll get them a tag team title shot. And then out of nowhere, Tony D's mouthpiece, his lady, that's been his, his concierge, shows up out of nowhere, because they're in like a supposed deserted building or something like that, and she just pops up with a cell phone, and so Tony D says, yeah, go ahead and make the deal. So the crap game, I guess, is going to continue on, but it's just a little odd. Then right, of course, towards the end, Andre, he not in a actual game, but he just throws some dice down and it comes up 7. So anyway, interesting little a spot there, I guess you could say. But you're going to go to what are they? Let me see. What do they call these guys? The no quarter catch crew. You've got Kemp and Bourne and Gulak and Dempsey. So they're going to go up against Dragon Lee. But they haven't told Dragon Lee which one is going to be going up against him. So, they're standing in there. Dragon Lee makes his appearance, which is good. Right now, I've been liking Kiana's entrance, but Lexus King has a really good entrance. He comes in a throne. So, kind of liking that. But Dragon Lee comes in, and they do the little standoff to try to figure out who's going to go against him. And, they're just lined up in the ring. It's kind of, I've never seen it done like this, but it is going to end up being Dempsey that gets the shot at him. The grappler, Steven Regal style, But then of course, you got to have the Gallus guys come in, and they just put Joe Coffey into the match and make it a 3-way. So, interesting way to start things off, but it's going to lead to a 3-way match: Dragon Lee, Dempsey, and Mark Coffey. Now with a 3-way match, it's almost like it's easier for somebody to break up the pins. So this match ends up taking a kind of a big chunk out of the time. And the match itself is good, you know, because Dempsey with that European style coffee, more of a European style also, and then the luchador. So different, you know, styles clash there. So it looked good. The match, as I said, took a chunk of time, but you had your near falls all towards the end. But towards right at the end, we're going to get a pin. I believe it was on Dempsey for Dragon Lee. So Dragon Lee pulls that out of his hat and looks good doing it. Looks good doing it. So, you know, let's see here. We go from there. And yes, the bromance, I guess we can say, goes on. There's another quick little spot with Trick and Mello. And they're really drawing this thing out. And each time somebody or Mello gets a little perturbed with something that Trick says, like, you know, he mentions in this spot that he wants to be the one to take the belt off of Dragunov because nobody else has been able to do it. So to Mello, that's kind of a little slap in the face. So yeah, you know, the bromance continues. Then you got Cora Jade returning to the locker room. So she goes in and takes Gorman's name off of her locker and just throws her stuff in the floor and announces that she is back in the locker room. And so Gigi makes a little response. So that may be the first opponent. But then we got another first round breakout tournament match. Yeah, these we got a 2020 Pan Am Games wrestling champion in this one. We got a little bit of everything in this particular match. All right, I want to make sure I get these names right. It's Luca Trasavino, and then you got Tavon Heights, and Heights is the 2020 Pan Am Games guy. And Luca, he seems to take on the persona of a lawyer, so maybe a little like the tax man back in the day. We'll see where he takes that angle, but this Tavon Heights is got the you know the moves. It looks like both of these guys haven't had an extensive amount of training. I'm guessing around a year for both. But having that wrestling background, I'm sure, is going to help Tavon come on a little quicker. But yeah, they got some good moves in this. Back and forth. Can't say anything bad too much. So you would expect the timing, you know, because I'm still harking on that with the Creed brothers. Because like I was talking with the Gardner earlier, Michael Gross, and I was, you know, he mentioned the same thing with the Creeds. It's like their timing. It's like they're like a car, like a race car. It's like it looks good in the driveway, but it's just not hitting it on the track yet. They got to figure everything out. And these guys, the timing was pretty good in this match. So that is, I think, the hardest thing to catch on. To have a good match between, you know, two people, you've got to have good timing. So yeah, they had a few mess ups, you know. I mean, you're not expecting everything to be crisp and clean, but overall, yeah, pretty good match. Let me see, we go kind of fast forward to the end, and Tavon's going to end up winning this. Does a couple belly to bellies, I guess you could say there, and ends up winning the match. But you know, the lawyer didn't look so bad, and these guys, you know, should have a pretty good future if they stick with it. So the second of the breakout tournament matches is done. Now they do a little promo with the ladies championship with Blair Davenport and Miss Valkyra. So kind of an interesting, very well produced little spot, but a lot of build up for this match. So we'll see where that goes. And then they got a little spot with Nikita getting ready for her match, and with the creepy Paxley, I think, or creepy Tatum, or whatever she called her. But yeah, you're going to have Nikita Lyons and Tatum Paxley coming in. So yeah, this should be pretty interesting. With Nikita coming back from that injury, they're slowly building her back into it, because she's definitely doing her part on X and all the social media platforms, and looking good coming back from her injury. So you can't go. I mean, she'll get put back in that storyline pretty quick. Just a little awkward on her interviews, but not everybody can do everything perfect. And right before they get started with the match, they do a little cut in with Metaphor, and they have to bring up Festivus, of course, and for the rest of us. And he announces he's going to defend the cup against Briggs in next week. So so we go to the match with Nikita and Paxley. Good match. Paxley puts on a good one, and Nikita is such a good striker and everything. So good match. Nikita's going to end up winning that match with her patented splits, and gets the win. And they go from there. Well, where else can you go but to Hank and Tank? So you got a Hank and Tank promo. They're getting each other hyped up, and doesn't Tank look more and more like a larger Taz? He does to me. But they get their little promo time in, and they're all fired up. All right, let me see. They got a little promo with Briggs and Jensen and Valen, and Valen's all fired up about Tiffany Stratton, and Briggs and Jensen agree that they're going to let each other take on this match by themselves. So we're back to Hank and Tank. Hank and Tank are going to go against the Gallus boys, and you know what you're going to get out of these guys. Now, Mark Coffey is kind of lagging behind, looking a little skittish, like he might be worried about somebody. The match, Hank and Tank have slowly gotten better and better, and you know what you're going to get out of the Gallus, and that's what you get. You get a hard-fought match, they make it look good, but Hank and Tank Jeff do not have the experience. Now they've got some big moves. They can pull off some big moves and sell somewhat. The oversized Taz, he's getting better. So you've got some future stars here for sure, and they're slowly getting a build. But in the end, you know how this is going to turn out. The Gallus boys are going to get their hands raised. Old Hank and Tank did pretty good in here, and it's setting up some future matches for Hank and Tank on down the road there. But their timing wasn't exactly great. But who is in the audience in the Chase U section when the Gallus boys are doing their pose at the end? With Joe Gacy. So there we go. And then we've got to go into a little promo about with Dijak. And Dijak's gotten a lot better on his promos, on his stick time. So, and he uses this pretty good. Of course, he's still complaining about Eddie Thorpe and costing him a title. That feud is definitely not over, for sure. Let me see. Oh, we've got a little scripted spot by Miss Tiffany. She is all fired up for sure. So we'll see where that goes. Absolutely. But this is all leading towards Dragunov and Rich. Rich he's so big. I think a lot of times he's good, but he's so big and stiff. And you've got Dragunov that will use his body as a weapon. So you know you're going to get a lot of chops with Dragunov for sure. And Rich has got a big target area, a big chest, so can get some good sound out of it. And Dragunov will take a hold of the start of the match, but Rich will get one of those big headbutts in on him, and try to do a couple kicks on him or whatever. So pretty good match though, pretty good match. Cannot complain on that. Now the size difference didn't really show up as much. Dragunov did try to get him up in a pile driver at one time, and it looked good because he couldn't get him up in the position, and it made it look more realistic, in my opinion. But it just turns around to where Dragunov ends up, in a hammer throw or something. I mean, it just, every time you think Dragunov is about to be out of it, he does just his facial expressions, everything about him is sells. So, the match, good, cannot complain, but who's going to end up winning this match. So, if you're going to have one like this, you got to have a barn burner, and they pretty much had what you could with Rich as being a barn burner. But of course, Dragunov is going to end up winning this, and we're going on to his match with Trick Williams upcoming. So, but towards the end, what is funny, or not funny, you're expecting, I said Dragunov won, I apologize. The match is ended up called because Dragunov ends up getting injured. So that is the new angle. I apologize greatly. I was just so used to it carrying on because Dragunov had gotten that big punch that he usually goes in for the win. And so everything looked normal, but then he gets kicked upside the head. And it looks like he might, that's the big kick out and everything. So that kick upside the head, I think, kind of set up for everything, because Rich, of course, goes into the power moves where he's got him in a bear hug and doing everything, but it basically comes down to when they get out of the bear hug. He appears injured. They go over to him. They're talking. The ref comes in. It's like something had happened to his ribs or his neck or something to that effect, but he's kind of lying motionless. Rich goes over to the corner. It's kind of like, what the heck's going on? They call for a stretcher, and it does really good as far as the crowd. The crowd looks stunned. The stretcher work, Rich is in the ring like he's he had his shot, but now it's gone. As he's sitting there watching them put the neck brace on him, kind of looks a little shot. He's they're friends, they're friendly, so he kind of has that. I mean, he plays the part to the T, like somebody would, just like anybody would. Like, hey, I didn't want it to end like this, but yeah, they cart off Dragunov on a stretcher, and the whole thing is, that's how they end the show, is pretty much taking him into the back. So we'll see how they portray this, but it's another angle. It's another angle. So a pretty good show, and I cannot complain. The way it ended, kind of a different angle, so I kind of like anything that's new. So hey, maybe we have a good show coming up next week for sure. But I guess we will go ahead and end this one, guys. And as always, I appreciate you taking the time out of your week to just give us a listen. Check out some of the other shows, and as always, if you can, rescue, get out there. Good time to get a pup for the kids, and spay and neuter. And this is Memphis Mark, and, I'm out.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.